in the middle, facing out towards the sidewalk. Right now, they're just standing here. They have not made any attempts as of right now to arrest anybody. But this is the moments ago, literally moments before we came on the air, we saw the police come and form this perimeter around the protesters. It's funny because it's interesting because moments ago the protesters were actually sitting on the ground continuing to chant. But when the police came in, they stood up, and you can actually see over here there are more police officers wearing green vests. We're not sure exactly what they're planning to do, but they are here and they are assembled. If you walk with me this way a little bit, you'll see Portland Police Chief Michael Sawchuk is here, along with this group of police officers. And again, right now, all that we've seen is just police officers make a circle around these protesters, but we haven't seen them make any moves towards arresting them yet. The protesters are chanting, back up, we want freedom, freedom. All these racist cops, we don't need them, need them. Now the crime scene unit is just on the opposite side of this circle, almost in front of DeMillo's restaurant. That's where the crime scene van is, but these police officers that are standing around the protesters, when they came in, they actually came from the opposite direction. But if you turn around, you'll see that there are some vans coming in right now that are in reverse. As you're seeing this as it's unfolding right now. There's really no other way to describe it besides the fact that these police are waiting here. They have not made any moves yet. But there is one officer who's speaking to the group of protesters in the middle of the circle. And there does appear to be another police officer who is videotaping that police officer. He's speaking to the individual protesters that are in that circle. I can't hear what he's saying right now over the chanting. I could only venture a guess, so I won't, at what this police officer is saying to them. It's possible that he is reading them their rights, but we don't know that for a fact. He's going around to each individual protester. He's literally stopping at each individual protester, and I'm not sure if he's saying the exact same thing to each of them. The police officer is actually trying to speak to one of the people using a megaphone right now, and when he tried to communicate with her, she actually started chanting louder. That officer that was just going around the circle is now speaking with his group of police officers over here. And the police officers are moving in. Again, you're seeing this as it's unfolding. They're going to the middle, and they're placing the protest organizers under arrest right now. You're watching this live. They've taken away their megaphone. The chants for Black Lives Matter have gotten louder, and the police are trying to restrain the protest organizers right now. It does appear that there are at least 3 police officers right now, and they're taking at least 3 of these organizers away right now. You can see them. You're watching this unfold live. Other people are stepping in and trying to prevent the police from arresting them. There is some kind of scuffle, but police have restrained other people, and they're pushing them out of the way. They are bringing the protest organizers from the PRJC and they're putting them into the van right now. The young woman that you're looking at right now is Mariana Angelo. She's one of the leaders of the PRJC who spoke with us earlier this afternoon. What they were calling for was for Chief Michael Sawchuk to admit that there is a nationwide problem between police and African Americans and people of color. Chief Michael Sawchuk did say something to that effect earlier today during a press conference, but this protest continued anyway. Right now, police have created what appears to be a barrier from other protesters. There doesn't appear to be any physical interaction as of right now, but what they have done is they have loaded at least 3 of the organizers from the PRJC into the van, and right now the rest of the protesters are chanting and they're saying Black Lives Matter in front of almost a line of police officers. We're going to try and give you another look. You can see it right here, right down the middle there. These protesters are literally feet away from police officers, chanting and speaking to them. There's a scuffle over on the far side. We're not sure exactly what's happening. Now they're chanting shame. Chief Michael Sawchuk is literally right behind his line of police officers telling them to hold the line. He's walking through the crowd right now. He's walking to the opposite side where there are more police officers. But what you're seeing right now is another one of the organizers being arrested and put into the van. They're closing the door. And they're putting another person into the back of that van. You can see that the police are having to use some type of physical force they've now arrested another person. That should bring the total to 6 by my count. It should be a total of 6 people that they've now taken into custody. Now the other protesters are chanting, "Arrest us too, arrest us too." But you're literally watching this unfold as it happens live. There is one police officer holding up a camera with a light on it. He does appear to be filming the interactions between police officers and protesters. This was one of the demands that the PRJC called for in their press release earlier today. They had asked that Portland police start using cameras to document the interactions between police and people of color. The police are there is at least one officer who's holding a camera right now. They now have arrested 2 more women they were 2 white women who were standing in that original circle out in the middle of Commercial Street. Things seem to have calmed down at least for a little bit right now, at least in the fact that no more people have been taken into custody, at least in the past couple of seconds. But again, protesters are still feet away from police officers as they hold a line in front of the van where they've placed many of the organizers. They're now arresting another man, a white man. They've brought him behind the line as well. There was a man who was chanting earlier, "Arrest us too, arrest us too." They're now chanting, "Whose streets? Our streets. Whose streets? Our streets." The organizers had called for Chief Michael Sawchuk to acknowledge that there was a nationwide problem between police officers and people of color. That's what they had asked for in their press release earlier today. The chief is down here right now. He's standing behind the line of the police officers in that white shirt. He had told us earlier that he did not have any intention of coming down to the protest in Lincoln Park. It's possible that as the situation changed, his plans changed as well. They've now taken another person into custody. To try to get an accurate count would be difficult, but they have arrested somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 people. And it appears they've just taken another woman into custody. But the chants continue for Black Lives Matter. Again, just a reminder, you're watching this unfold live. They've taken another woman into custody.
Who do you serve? Who do you protect? Who do you serve? Who do you protect? Who do you serve? Who do you protect? Who do you serve?
I'm trying to get an accurate count now of how many people have been arrested. It appears, and this is not an official count, but that there are about 5 people on either side of that van inside and 1 person sitting against the back, which would bring the count to about 11 people so far who have been arrested. Now again, police officers are holding a line in front of that van as protesters stand just feet away from them with chants of Black Lives Matter, no justice, no peace. They've now taken another woman into custody. And Police Chief Michael Sawchuk is patrolling the line of officers here. Earlier, he was telling them to hold the line. It's hard to hear what he's saying right now.
You are in the roadway. You are obstructing a public way.
The officer just shouted to the group of people that if you are standing in the sidewalk, they're now instructing the media to get out of the road as well. So we're going to back up, but we're going to try to keep our eyes on the situation of what's happening. They've instructed the media to back up. We're now behind. Just so you know, right now we are actually behind the protesters. The officer is warning even the members of the ACLU that they are subject to arrest if they remain in the street. In the street. Chief Michael Sawchuk is appearing to give instructions to his officers right now. He's making hand motions that would appear he still wants these protesters in front of them to push back. Now, if you look a little bit to the right, you can see that most of the area has cleared out, whereas before there was a solid line of police officers and protesters almost inches away from their face right up in front of them. But police are now coming closer. They're asking everybody to back up. We're going to keep backing up while keeping an eye on the situation. They're asking us to back up. We're going to continue backing up. Police have now seemed to almost almost create some kind of blockade to prevent any protesters from going into the street. They are saying to the public that if you do go into the road, you will be arrested. You can hear the chants of Black Lives Matter on the side. Now, we don't have an official count of how many people exactly have been arrested, but we do believe that that number is in the double digits. They did have 2 wagons that they did put a number of people into the back of. They were both organizers of this protest and people who came as allies to stand with them. Many of the protesters have now stayed to the sidewalk as police have requested, asking them not to stand in the road because if they do stand in the road, they're obstructing a public way and could be arrested. Now the chants are for "We are watching." It doesn't appear that the situation has become any less tense than it was moments ago when police came to arrest many of the protest organizers. We're going to show you a shot right up Pearl Street right now. This is Pearl Street at Commercial Street. There are a number of police cars that have completely blocked off Pearl Street from 4th Street down to Commercial Street. And you can see it's a number of cruisers, and if you turn just to the right, they're really only feet from the protesters here who, for the time being, have stopped chanting. And again, that police line that you're seeing right over there is now almost barricading people against the sidewalk, whereas before it was just preventing them from being in front of the wagons. But now you can see this police line is actually starting to walk away. They're actually sliding down just a little bit. There are police on both sides of Commercial Street. There are also some across the street near the sign that says Black Lives Matter. And the chants for shame are coming back. One of the wagons that is holding almost all of the protest organizers has just taken off, and so has the other wagon. And besides the 2 lines of police officers who are standing here right now advising and almost they're ordering people to stay against the sidewalk, otherwise they'll be arrested, there is a small contingent of police officers, including Chief Michael Soschuk, over there in the middle of the street. Here, let's back up, Derek. Again, you have to pardon some of the language that you may be hearing. This is all unfolding live. The police officer's now speaking to some of the members of his line. It appears that he's brought some of them. They seem to be dispersing, or at least rearranging. We're not exactly sure what's happening right now. But we know that the police are no longer holding those lines that they were just a moment ago where they were ordering people to stay on the sidewalks. You can see those 2 police officers walking down that way. Many of the other police officers are walking the opposite direction. Let's get out of the way, Derek. We're going to back up a little bit. Having a bit of a hard time picking up on what one of the commanding officers is saying over the radio right now. But he did say to broadcast all units. I'm not sure if that's the units in the area. But they are making some type of communication now with the other officers. But it appears, as you're looking down Commercial Street right now, it appears that basically all of the protesters are now back on the sidewalk as they've been instructed to do so. The police officers it appears right now that the police officers have returned to their vehicles. You're seeing one pull out from Pearl Street onto Commercial Street right now. Again, we're not sure exactly what their plan is and what they're doing. But you'll see another police car is now pulling away, taking a left onto Commercial Street, going towards Franklin Arterial. That car actually turned its lights off. It does appear from over on this side that some of the police cars are actually dispersing. The crime scene unit van is passing by. Many of the police cars are driving away. And if we turn around and look again down Commercial Street towards Franklin Arterial, you'll see that the police cars that we showed you a moment ago along Pearl Street are now splitting up, driving down Commercial Street. It was, moments ago, it was a very tense situation out here with protesters literally inches away from police officers in their face chanting. There were many that did have to be taken into custody, but as of right now, the protesters had been ordered to move back to the sidewalk. Many of them are still there. But this is the most clear that we've seen Commercial Street in a number of hours. It does appear that some regular vehicles are coming back through the area now. They haven't been able to come through for about 3 hours. This is the first type of traffic that we've seen down this road of normal civilians in about 3 hours. So again, what you're kind of seeing right now is Commercial Street back to what it normally looks like. But again, there is a large group of people who were part of the protest, or at least witnessing the protest, standing on the sidewalk where police had ordered them to stay. They said that if they did not stay on the sidewalk, they would be arrested. Now, police earlier took about 12 people into custody. They all drove off. But if you see right now, there are more people who are actually sitting down on the ground in the middle of Commercial Street. They're bringing the banner back out. You can hear the chant for Black Lives Matter as they bring this banner back out. Now that the police are gone, it appears they may try to obstruct the roadway again. And it's remarkable how in a matter of moments we saw Commercial Street go from packed full of protesters with a line of police taking people into custody, then to clear as they forced those people to go to the sidewalk, or excuse me, ordered them to go to the sidewalk in order to avoid being arrested. And now, once again, the banner is back out and people are chanting and walking down Commercial Street almost in an attempt to block the road again. You're watching this unfold live. We're staying a little bit ahead of the banner right now, but it did appear that moments ago all of the police left the scene. Once they had arrested almost somewhere in the double digits worth of people, or at least taking them into custody, many of the police cars took off. And now this protest continues down the middle of Commercial Street in Portland. Now, another thing we're seeing is that a lot of the members of the ACLU, people who were wearing vests earlier as a legal observer, are no longer wearing them and participating in the protest when originally they were not. Before, they were here as legal observers trying to protect people from being hit. Would you like to speak with us? What's your name, miss?
My name is Mercedes Fauché, and the police decided it was okay to arrest the people of color first and only arrested the white people as an afterthought.
And
after we said we wanted to get arrested.
Mercedes, are you associated with the ACLU?
I was a volunteer for the ACLU to make sure that this was documented, but at this point I am upset with the police and their handling of this, and at this point I am here representing Portland Racial Justice Congress.
So why did you take your vest off?
Because I've had enough. Because the police think it's okay even with my vest to push me around and almost arrest me. So what's the point?
Originally, members of the ACLU had advised their other fellow members that they were not to participate in the protest, but now you are doing so, is that correct?
Yes, this is completely separate. I am not participating as the ACLU member that I was being.
Why did you feel compelled to participate?
Because I think it's okay to people that are documenting this to be harassed, and that is not okay. I am here to document and show the injustices, and they think it is okay for people documenting it, including reporters, to push them aside and basically throw them on the street.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
What you're seeing right now is the protest is continuing up Market Street right now. They took a right on Commercial Street and are now walking up Market Street. They're carrying the banner. They're about to be at 4th Street. The protesters are marching right up Market Street. They've crossed 4th Street now. You can hear the chants of Black Lives Matter. We spoke to someone, a protester just moments ago who was upset that police chose to arrest the people of color. That's what she said happened. Now, the police did also arrest many people who were white, but they did arrest many of the PRJC organizers who were standing in the middle of that circle moments ago on Commercial Street. But right now, the protest has moved. It's no longer on Commercial Street. They're walking up Market Street, passing Milk Street and the Portland Regency Hotel.